Keith Farmer in 10th.
I told you James Westmoreland, number 27, would be fancying a little bit of that 6 in the championship, and that's exactly what he'd get should he finish in front of the man behind him, his teammate Kirkham. Lovely.
Michael Rutter in 11th place. Josh Waters now up to 12th. There's the relative gaps just moving back downfield. Looking at John Kirkham here with PJ Jacobson right behind him. So can the pint-sized American do anything about the 6'3" Derbyshireman? I don't know about that, because I think Kirkham will be focused on teammate Westmoreland.
Yeah, and I think they've just both passed in the last couple of laps. They've just both passed the New Yorker Jacobson.
Wonderful noise. I was just listening to them howling out of Stirling's Bend there. It sounds great. Harmonious.
Yeah.
So we'll have 3 laps to go at the end of this one. On to lap 16 goes Shaky Byrne.
Big lock-up going into Paddock Hill there for Shane Byrne. It's cost him a tiny bit of time. About to tell you.
Again, Ellison seemed to have the drive for a moment up Halewood Hill.
Yeah, well, we're going to see, because I think these are going to stay together till the end, and we're going to see what James Ellison has got. Is he going to want to push? He's 4th in the championship. Is he going to think that's good enough? Don't know.
The Milwaukee Yamaha just a bike length behind the Rapid Solicitors Kawasaki. Up the hill, across the crest of the hill. That massive drop down, Pilgrim's drop up to 4th gear, 175 miles per hour, and then a massive braking at that 200-metre board into the uphill right-hander at Hawthorns.
Milwaukee, the town, famous for 2 things, isn't it? It's beer and happy days. Fonzie and all that. Or am I showing my age a bit there?
I don't know.
And Alice Cooper, apparently, he's from there.
Yep.
Dennis.
Well, that's it. That's 3 things it's famous for, then. And then we've got 3 riders in the frame here. Josh Brooks is definitely going to run 4th place on the 16th lap of 18. 2 laps to go at the end of this one. Shane Byrne stamped his authority on this race right from the off, from 4th place on the grid, and on a completely rebuilt motorcycle has shown his prowess all the way through, and he's still leading the way.
Ellison quite good out of clearways, you know. Once he definitely drops back a bit going in, but it's blue line coming out. He's on the power a little bit earlier than Shane Byrne and drives out of there. If he can get close enough going in, he might have a run at Shane towards the line. Perhaps.
As they drop down now to Graham Hill Bend, the penultimate lap of this sun-blessed afternoon at Brands Hatch in front of a cracking crowd.
Well, it's going to stick and lift time for Ellison and for Lowe's. If they're going to do anything about it, they're going to have to start thinking about it now.
How many championship races has Shaky won round here? Is it something silly, like about 12 if you include his World Superbike victories 10 years ago?
Yeah, he's been impressive round here forever.
So he's going to take a lot of shifting from that lead position, I would hazard.
Yep, I would have thought.
I love the way Shaky's, all the way along the Minter Straight, he's lined up for the right-hander at Westfield. Dropping down through Dingle Dell, veering round the Sheen Curve. This is a beautiful 70-mile-an-hour right-hander, and then that 65 third gear left-hander, and then this amazing acceleration up towards 150, top 150, and then have to slam it back to the 70-mile-an-hour entrance here.
And Ellison has to make a decision now, because I don't think he's sat there comfortable. I think he's just about doing everything he can to stay where he is, just behind Shane Byrne. I might be wrong, but for me, it's definitely going to be a risk if James Ellison, the man in second on the Milwaukee Yamaha, is going to make a lunge for the win. And I'm not sure whether at this stage in, well, his season, the way it's gone, and 4th in the championship, he's going to have a go at that.
And he doesn't seem to just quite have the sheer drag speed to get himself into an attacking position.
No, correct. That's the way I see it.
So Byrne, Ellison, Lowe still running in that formation here. Oh, James Ellison suddenly, for a moment, did we see a knee slider skip out there?
There was something, wasn't there? Yeah, there was.
Over the lip of the hill.
He's in the slipstream now of Shane Byrne.
But then the Kawasaki drags away from him just on that little first stretch. Yeah, Shaky's comfortable through Hawthorns.
Yeah, good mid-corner speed at this stage in the race. So from Ellison, look.
Alex Lowe's, obviously, again, you'd expect Lowe's to attack if he had the pace to, James, and he's never really been able to launch anything from there.
No, I think Ellison's quite kind of safe from any attack coming from behind, I think. You never know with Alex Lowe's, but time's running out for Ellison, and that, for me, it was his last chance. I don't think he's got a plan now. It'll be a mistake from Byrne that allows James Ellison in.
This is Shaky Byrne's 231st British Superbike race. It's going to be his 49th race win, surely, as he comes hurtling round the Clark curve to the checkered flag. Shaky wins it. Second place, James Ellison, Milwaukee Yamaha. Third place, Alex Lowe's for Samsung Honda. Fourth place, Josh Brooks, Taiko Suzuki. Fifth, Yuichi Kianari, Samsung Honda. Sixth place, James Westmoreland, ahead of teammate John Kirkman, therefore up to stable. Jacobson, 8th, Linfoot, 9th, Keith Farmer in 10th. And a very happy Petra there can go and greet her rubber-smoking husband. Shaky Byrne is back on top of the box.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, hats off to a man who threw himself to the barriers and the marshals in race 1 at the speed he did. Clearly bounced around. They've got back protection, elbow protection, all the rest of it, but it still hurts. I can tell you doing what he did in race 1. And to bounce back like that, fair play to the old fella. I'm telling you, chalky boned as he is.
Shaky going from the big wheelie as they got 17 riders finished. That Jenny Tinmouth, the last person to cross the line, only 42 seconds behind the leader. We lost Mainwaring, Harris, Howarth, Smertz, Walker and Costello. But Shaky Byrne is the man at the right end, and that means that he's taken victory. A disappointment for Josh Brooks after that great first race win. He doesn't even get any podium credits for that 4th place. It's a hard race for nothing. But look, there's his support crew.
I still think that he'll come away from Brands Hatch encouraged. You know, he'll definitely see that. He said he didn't make any changes to the bike, maybe had a tyre issue, I don't know, but certainly it's been a good weekend for Josh Brooks with a win.
Do you know Westmoreland and Kirkham will be tied for 6th place in the championship because the points gap is only 1 point between 6th and 7th.
Yeah.
So the results of that second MCE Insurance British Superbike race in association with Pirelli. The winner, Shaky Byrne on the Rapid Solicitors Kawasaki. Second place, James Ellison, Milwaukee Yamaha, ahead of Alex Lowe's Samsung Honda. Brooks Taiko Suzuki is 4th, ahead of Kianari's Samsung Honda. Then the 2 build-based BMWs, Westmoreland beats Kirkham and draws level in the championship table. Jacobson drops to 8th place. Linfoot, once again, a spirited ride into the top 10 for the Lloyd's British GB Moto Honda, ahead of Keith Farmer on the 2nd Rapid Solicitors Kawasaki. Michael Rutter, Batham's Honda in 11th place, ahead of Josh Waters, Peter Hickman, Matteo Baiocco and Martin Jessup on the Riders Motorcycles BMW, with Zanotti's Stel Suzuki and Jenny Tinmouth rounding out the finishers at the end of a hard, hot race. And as Howie Mainwaring's MH Kawasaki gets picked up by the breakdown fan, this is how the championship table looks. Shaky Byrne is back on top. Well, is already on top, but opens out a 21-point advantage. Alex Lowe's moves back into 2nd place, 1 point ahead of Josh Brooks. James Ellison has cemented that 3rd place, 10 points now ahead of Yuichi Kianari. And then look at that, forget the red line. Kirkham and Westmoreland on the build-based BMWs, 100 points apiece, joint 6th. Chris Walker, desperately unlucky, is now 25 points behind that possible 6th place finish, 4 ahead of Jacobson and 11 points ahead of Keith Farmer in 10th place overall. Peter Hickman is in well and Dan Linfoot, who drops up to 13th place. Josh Waters is 14th ahead of Smertz, Mainwaring, Rutter and the rest. Congratulations then to Shaky Byrne. He's come back from that misfortune in race 1 and has brilliantly won the 2nd race. Congratulations to him. For a very happy James Ellison after Ellison had... And Ellison was... I think Ellison was saying there to Shaky, yes, you had a few moments there, but didn't you? Probably into Paddock Hill Bend.
Absolutely, and that encouraging result from James Ellison. How many times do we see him not qualify well, not have a good first race, and then somehow get a lap in race 1 and have a cracking race 2? Lots of times this year.
Will be very, very relieved at that, and he knows now, well, he can now go to Alton Park looking for that 50th race win. Already the man in British Superbikes. He gets a hug there from an almost tearful Paul Bird.
Well, we are here with our 3rd place finisher, Alex Lowe's. Alex, looked like you were pushing as hard as you possibly could. Just wasn't quite fast enough to get by Shaky or James.
Yeah, we made a change in between the races, and if anything, the bike was a little bit worse. But yeah, it's my fault, and I told him what to change. So yeah, I just struggled out there today. You know, I had quite big problems. Me probably riding not as good this weekend, but I want really on the pace. I want really where I want it to be. So to get 2 podiums, score the most points on the day, and be consistent is good. And you know, I just had to use my head there. I didn't feel confident to pass, but you know, I wasn't going to give up. So yeah, if I can have a bad day and finish second or third, then I'll be quite happy. But we need to improve a lot. I really struggled then. It was hard work, and yeah, I really enjoyed it as well. You know, it was a great battle, and well done to the 2 boys in front of me. And yeah, I'll go to Alton Park and look forward for the rest of the year.
Don't want to sound negative about today's performance. As you said, 2 podiums there, of course. Looking forward to Alton Park. What are your thoughts going into that round?
Oh, I'm really happy. Like I said, I've scored the most points on the day the last 2 rounds, and I've probably been the most consistent, which for me is ridiculous, especially with the problems I've had. That's ridiculous to say. So when I need to, I think I can go fast. So I can't wait for it. We had a win there at the start of the year. Got Alton, Cadwell, Donington. These are my worst tracks here, and maybe Snetterton and Knock Hill. So this patch of the season was going to be hard work. But I can't wait for the rest of the year. I'm absolutely loving it, and I'm learning all the time. So yeah, I think we're going to be all right.
Knock Hill's crash aside, a good haul of podiums. We'll let you go to the podium now.
Cheers, Tony.
Thanks very much, Alex. Our second place finisher, James Ellison. Great ride from you, James. You got to feel good being back on the podium.
Yeah, it was really good, mate. I mean, disappointed in race 1, obviously. It was another mistake. I feel really bad for Chris, because I took him out at Knock Hill as well, and again, it was just because I wanted to get to the front. I know we can run with these guys. And there's another ride in front, and you can see that they were kind of losing the pack. You get a little bit frustrated, hot-headed, and try and get past, and it was my fault. I just want to apologise to Chris on air. You know, but glad he got back out in the race, and we did as well. You know, it was real hard to get the bike up and going. So, you know, with a big team like ours compared to Chris, I know it must have been hard work. But just glad Milwaukee Yamaha are out there. Timothy Yamaha, Monster Energy, everybody who helps me out, SRS. Just want to say a big thank you to everyone, and it's great to be back on the podium. Next time, let's try and make it 2.
Nicely done. Right from the very start, you looked very aggressive on the bike, really wanted to try and push past and get to the front. Was there anything more that you could have done, do you think, during the race?
No, not at all. I mean, obviously, Shaky knows his way around here. And it was just real fast, didn't make one mistake. I was waiting for something. Thinking, did you lose your knee slider? Something came off the bike at the bottom, and that was it was the first little glitch. I thought, I've got a chance here. But he just held it on a little bit longer. He'd obviously known what happened and shut the door again, so there was nothing I could do. Faultless race from him, and I'm just glad Timothy Yamaha, I keep mentioning him, but they do help me out. Milwaukee Yamaha's back on the podium, so thank you guys, thank you to everybody who helps me out.
Nicely done, James. We'll let you go to the podium. Well done, James Ellison, now a race winner. It feels like the world makes sense again. Now you're back on top of the podium at Brands Hatch. Threw yourself to the barrier in the first one, bouncing back, bouncing after that wasn't easy, of course, and coming back can't have been easy, Shaky, but you're back. How do you feel?
I feel much better, you know. I heard on TV that you said, I wonder what that's going to do to his head and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, I felt more disappointed for my team than myself in the first race because we had a plan and the plan was going to fruition. And, you know, Alex came back past me, which wasn't quite in the plan. So when I realised that Josh and I couldn't break him, I thought, well, I'll have my turn at the front now and see what happened, and got through to the lead and then lost the front. So, you know, my team worked so hard to repair the bike and get it back together. So I'd like to dedicate that win to them for all their hard work and all their effort, and also to the fantastic crowd here at Brands Hatch. You know, there's thousands and thousands of people, and, you know, they came here to see us win, and thankfully we got at least one.
Knocking on 49 wins now, so you're close to getting that magical 50.
Yeah, I mean, that's not really too much of a concern, you know. We're building towards a showdown, you know, same as everybody. And, you know, I'm hoping that we can find some small improvements in me, some small improvements in the bike going towards the showdown. And, you know, once we're through, hopefully through to it, then we'll try a few more bits with the bike just to see if we can take a step forward. And hopefully we can, and then we'll see what happens in the showdown.
Well, Shaky, it was great to see you back on the podium. Great ride from you in race 2. Well done.
Thank you.
There we go, Shane Burney make his way up to the podium now, and whilst he does that, as usual, we will just have a quick reminder with the highlights.
Great start from Shaky Byrne. Look at him on the left of picture there. He just arrowed up the inside of all the guys who had pretensions on that first place. Pole shot the race down the hill into Paddock Hill Bend, and from that point he was actually never headed, despite the best efforts of James Ellison, Alex Lowe and Josh Brooks. Shaky Byrne led the way as they went round Clark Curve, ahead of Ellison, who was always there in second place. Brooks never quite seemed to have the pace he had in race 1 when he claimed his first victory. Lost that third place to Alex Lowe early on. Yuichi Kiyanari running behind him in 5th place. And then a crash at Sheen Curve. Down goes Lee Costello on the Halsell Racing Kawasaki. The safety car comes out, and then Shaky restarts the race and surprises everybody really by suddenly taking off rather earlier than they figured he would. Jakob Smerts also goes down at Sheen Curve. Fortunately uninjured, but making a bit of a mess of the Paget's Honda. Meanwhile, trying to find a way past James Ellison. At that point, it looked as if Shaky was edging away, but he didn't get very far up the road because Ellison was soon back in the game and tried to hunt down the Kawasaki. A problem for the unlucky Howie Mainwaring Smart. He was running in 10th place on the MH Racing Kawasaki when a technical fault meant that he got black flagged. Here was Ellison making a really stonking attempt to get by at Sterling's, but a great sweeping left-hand run there by Shaky Byrne protected his lead. With Alex Lowe's doing everything he could, and then something bouncing. We thought that was a knee slider bouncing down the Cooper Straight, but it didn't slow either of them down. Shaky Byrne still had the advantage as they went round Clearways on the Clark Curve and won his 49th British Superbike race, kept himself well and truly in the lead in 2013 and celebrated in style. The podium credits look rather like this. Shane Byrne has 26 now. Remember, these are the points that are carried into the last 3 rounds of the championship. Alex Lowe's has 19, Josh Brooks 16, James Ellison 8, Yuichi Kianari has 3. And here is Alex Lowe's 3rd place, very sporting. Not often you see Alex looking a little disappointed, but there was definitely disappointment in his reaction to that race result. James Ellison, on the contrary, was really thrilled at getting properly back on the podium. Very apologetic to Chris Walker after that first race clash. And Shaky Byrne, would you believe it? After winning the British Championship in 2003, went off to MotoGP for 2 years. He came back in 2006 with Ritzler Suzuki, and eventually in 2008 he won the British Superbike Championship again. And after going off to World Superbikes for a couple of seasons, he was back to win it again in 2012. Jack Bradley from MCE Insurance is presenting the trophies, first to the 3rd place finisher Alex Lowe's, secondly to the man from Kendall there on the left of picture, James Ellison, and finally to the race winner, a very popular race winner here on the Rapid Solicitors Kawasaki, the local man who may have lost count yet. I've certainly lost count of how many races he's won round here at Brands Hatch, although he has also high-sided rather dramatically at Paddock Hill Bend back in his Suzuki days. A smiling Shane Byrne takes his 49th race victory in all in British Superbikes, but more importantly, once again extends his lead and podium credits in the 2013 championship in defence of his title.
So there we go then, that is the 2nd MCE British Superbikes race here from Brands Hatch, and that concludes our live coverage from the event for today. You'll notice that there's no champagne being sprayed on the podium, and that's because we've had some very sad news, unfortunately, from the World Superbike event over in Russia at the Moscow Raceway. You will have seen that in the World Superbike